initially when doing these communication concepts paper and vlogs, I was instantly kind of like, I don't really want to do it. It sounds like a lot of work, you know. But really, I think I've learned the most out of doing these two vlogs just because it relates so closely to like your everyday life, and like watching a movie and trying to like figure it out from there, that makes it seem so much more like understandable. So my two favorite things I've learned over this whole chapter are the two things I decided to write my papers on. And this time I decided to write it on like certain leadership styles. And it's because the movie I chose was Saving Private Ryan, which is like one of my favorite movies all time because I love watching war movies with my family, and that one was just so good. And the two main styles that I chose to focus on was the coaching, the coaching leadership style and the affiliative style. I can't remember how to say it very well, but those two, and they were portrayed like a lot during the movie because obviously you have to have really strong leadership to be in a war and stuff. And some of my favorite examples that I talked about in the paper were when they were on their way to go find Private Ryan, and they had so many obstacles that they had to go through, and they mainly used the coaching style of leadership, which I think is like easiest to understand because it's really straightforward. But then towards the end, he started to use the other one because he was giving a lot more like credit where it was deserved, which isn't something you see very often in the war because like there's just so much going on and there's no time to baby anybody and tell them, oh, you're doing great, because they just don't have time for that. But the examples of leadership were shown so well in that movie, so it was really easy to write a paper about it, and it was really interesting. And the leadership, something I'm glad that I wrote about that because I'm actually going to run for our student body president next year because I'm going to be a senior, and like it's so important to know the different types of leadership and like how they're portrayed, and it helped you pick out the type of leader you want to be. Because when reading about these different types of leaderships, you see some that just aren't really like, they're like my way or the highway leadership, and it's just not the kind of, doesn't form the cohesive unit that other types form. So learning about it in the book, in this lesson and everything, was really interesting, and it helped like relate everything to your life, especially because no matter what you do, you're gonna have to have a leadership role because you're always gonna be above somebody at some point. So understanding certain types of leaderships is like really important for your everyday life, even as you grow older and everything. So I really enjoyed learning a lot more about leadership because I didn't really notice I didn't really understand how intricate it was and how many different parts to it there are and how many different styles. So I just really enjoyed this paper and learning about more in depth about the leadership.